We've got some
Hey,
fresh
I'm
new young
Luis.
talent doing some things
And
that I know you
I'm
haven't heard
Luis.
before.
And you're listening to the Content is Profit podcast.
We spent the last 4 years learning the strategies and techniques from some of the top marketers in the world on how to create content that turns into profit.
If you'd like to learn more how to turn your content into profit, go to contentisprofit.com. Yeah.
That's right, guys. Today, we have a thank you episode for 50 incredible episodes of
5-0,
Content is
baby.
Profit.
Let's go. Thank you,
That's
FONZI.
awesome.
Before we get started, please don't forget to subscribe. Smash that subscribe button so you know when those episodes are dropping on your phone. And feel free to check us out on social media at BIZBROS. Go Facebook and Instagram. You can send us some DMs if you want.
That's right, guys. And if you find this episode impactful, which I am 100% sure you will, don't forget to share it and don't forget to leave a 5-star review.
All right.
You know what I found amazing, Luhaned? You know what I find unbelievable?
Tell me.
Even after 50 episodes, we still somehow
Mess up the
intro.
It's okay. It's funny because like we have been in some online communities and a lot of the questions are like, how do I stay perfect? And we're like, no, just be you. Stay consistent, have fun, have a blast. And I think, we're just having a blast every time we do these intros. And that's why we've been excited. And that's okay because guess what? This is episode 51. And 50. Okay, we have this argument before, but you, the audience, can tell us what is the number of this episode. But we would not be able to get here if we just think about the issues that could happen if we do this, if it's not perfect. Because have we been there, Fonzie? Have we been there?
Yeah, I mean, 120% we've been there. I mean, like we said in previous episode, it took us 3 years to start creating content. 3 years. Imagine like that. I asked myself, where would we be if we would have started publishing 3 years ago, right? So
I guess
being said, guys, we were.
I guess in 3 years we'll know. Yeah, I guess in 3 years we'll know where we will be 3 years from now if we started 3 years before. Right?
There we go. That makes sense. That makes total sense. So yeah, I mean, we were trying to be perfectionists. We needed to have the nicest camera, the nicest mic, and I think we were just putting excuses on our insecurities, our own insecurities of getting in front of the camera, share our message, and get people to listen to it, right? And then 3 years later, we were like, hey, we don't care anymore. It's time to get in front of the camera. If we want to move forward, we need to publish. So, I mean, there were some other circumstances that were in the mix, but
yeah, we'll get into it in just a second.
We took action.
Yeah. So, some of those, we actually were having a really cool conversation last night about pressure, right? How pressure, and I think it comes from the book Anti-Fragile that you're reading right now. And, there's always a force there and that causes change. And then somehow you battle basically that force to do progress. So do you want to explain a little bit, why you're reading? And then I'll go into basically the story that pushed the start of Content is Profit. And then after that, like all the amazing, crazy things that have been happening in the first 3 months of the show.
Yeah, I mean, to share just a little bit about that book, because again, I'm just at the beginning of it, honestly. I can't wait to read more of it. But pretty much the main topic in there is that we as humans, we are anti-fragile, right? Like we hear all this, we always hear, oh, you gotta be resilient, right? But resilient is something that like they can handle the pressure, they can handle the pain, but it doesn't really grow. It just like stays the same. And we as humans, we're anti-fragile because what is fragile? Something that breaks easily, right? Anti-fragile will be the opposite of that, but there's actually not a word in the dictionary for that. So anti-fragile means that when we meet that pressure, when we meet, all these external forces coming towards us that are trying to stop us in our track, we actually take action, react in a way that we outgrow that pressure and we pretty much evolve and become better, right? And a great example is the gym. People at the gym, literally, like, they go and they are lifting these heavy weights, right? Let's say they're lifting 100 pounds and they're struggling, and 2 weeks from them they can lift them easier, right? And that's the body, the anti-fragile body, fighting that pressure, evolving and becoming stronger. And it's the same as humans, right? Sometimes we are in these situations, and I think that's the story that you wanted me to lead into, that we're in these situations where we find so much pressure, so many circumstances that we're like, oh, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, those are the difficult moments, but we gotta push through. And I mean, I think in times like this right now, with the coronavirus, everything that's going on, a lot of people have been experiencing some sort of pressure, right?
Yeah.
Yet, obviously, not everybody reacts the same way. Anti-fragility doesn't come naturally, right? Like, we're built to be anti-fragile, but it doesn't come naturally. It has to come from within, from us. We need to take action to make it happen.
Yeah, I love that. And, we shared the story beforehand on, the business, obviously, and why we decided to start publishing. But I really want to, because in the last few days, we've had a lot of people that have come to us wanting to publish, wanting to put themselves out there, wanted to express a message. And they're like, how do I do it? How do I remove the friction? How do I go forward? So we want to tell you guys a little bit of our story on why we started publishing 3 months ago. And then all the crazy, amazing things that started to happen, which we're extremely thankful, and for sure is not gonna stop us from continuing to do this 3 times a week like we've been doing it, right? So, going back and reflecting on what was happening, we remember as soon as COVID happened, we received a phone call, right? And we were sitting, Fonzie was in his Tyler mode, we call Tyler mode, when he's super focused, ready to go on flow. And I just get this call, and it was one of our biggest clients, and they're like, guys, we have to close all the locations. All 9 locations that you guys work with, they have to close. We don't know how long this is gonna last. There's not gonna be paycheck coming your way. And we're like, holy moly, that's it. We are, we're out of business, right? Because we were in this period of transitioning and trying to find out who was that dream customer, the people that we really wanted to work with, and we were having a little bit of a hard time trying to find that, right? And so I remember just sitting in my chair, freaking out. I'm like, yeah, this is it. What are we gonna do, right? We're on a time crunch just because of the coaching program. A ton of stuff that was happening, a lot of noise, and it felt clogged, right? So Fonzie goes ahead and he's like, dude, don't worry about it. Why don't you go out and go for a walk? Because that's what he does. He goes out and does road. He's a sun baby.
I'm a sun baby. Hey, I was born at 12:35 p.m.
Yes.
So super parenthesis story, real quick.
Super.
So
yeah.
the other day I was taking a walk and I was like, oh man, the sun feels so nice, right? And I get back to the office and I told my brother, dude, I'm a sun baby. Like, at this time, I didn't know that I was born at that time of day. But
yeah.
I was literally taking a walk, just like a reptile, just freaking taking the sun on my face.
Bring it.
And I come back, I'm like, Luzania, I'm a sun baby. Around those days, I had some ear issues. My ear was just in pain. And whatever. Long story short,
yeah. Super
I
side note
consulted with a doctor, and she asked me for my time of birth, and I was like, well, I don't know. And I asked my mom. She's like, oh, 12:30. Literally at noon. And the doctor's like, oh, you're a sun baby. You must love sun. And I was like, yes, I do. I'm a sun baby.
Super sidetracked on this story.
Yeah, super sidetracked.
Okay.
Just keep going.
So that's
with
the reason
story.
Fozzie's go out for a walk. I'm like, perfect. So that's what we did. We came back and we started to see that very negative experience, and I have no doubt that a lot of people out there probably had something similar happening to them in the last few months. And we try to see it through the opportunity lens. And we said, okay, all this time that we're dedicating to this client, because it indeed was a lot of time, what can we do now that can benefit, right? And we kept hearing from all our coaches, all the mentors that, you know, we've been around. They're like, you guys have to publish. You guys have to develop your voice, develop your message, do whatever it takes. And we've done a couple of 45 lives up to that point, which, you know, if you go back and you can listen to those episodes, which are amazing. But we're like, hey, what about we apply that and we actually start the show that we recorded 5 episodes and they're just sitting in the dust and we haven't never ever published because Fonzie is so perfectionist that he can't edit 2 cameras and we don't have the time to do it. So basically
we're gonna create a Patreon and put those in there. We're just gonna put those in there.
I mean, in one of those I literally drop a beer on top of my computer, which still works amazingly, but anyways, so we're like, okay, this is the time. This is time to get started. Let's actually go ahead and start publishing. So, you know, following one of our clients, Josh 40, he publishes 3 times a week live episodes. And we're like, dude, if he can do it, we can as well. So let's actually try that. And because we believe in consistency and frequency. And that's exactly what we started to do. We're like, okay, how can we remove the friction, right? How can we make it as easy as possible for us to publish? And the answer was, let's actually do it live, announce it every single day so we are held accountable. And then we grab that audio and then we publish it on podcast. So the podcast audio is kind of like on the back right now, like it's happening, but it's not the priority, right? The priority is actually executing on launching these episodes live. Correct, Fonzie?
Yeah, just taking action.
Taking action, baby. So
the key element.
So that's what we started to do, and it was incredible because after the first week, I think it was like episode 12 or something, we get somebody giving us a call with like, guys, I want to work with you. Tell me what you do. Exactly. And we're like, perfect. And it turns out that was the perfect solution for the problem that this person had. And we recovered a ton of those sales that we were missing from our previous client, right? So that was the first win. That was amazing. It felt good. It validated the way that how we do it, the way that we do things, why we publish so consistently. And we're like, wow, this is so amazing.
I think it validated just the idea of publishing in general, right? Like,
yes,
a lot of times we're just so afraid of being like putting ourselves out there, but we don't know the opportunities that we're missing by not putting ourselves out there, right? And I mean, it happened the same with 45 Live. When we were doing 45 Live, literally day 20, we had to stop because we got in front of the opportunity, resonated with someone, and they were like, hey, you want to come to a content dinner? And then this pretty nice contract came out of that, right?
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have happened if we wouldn't have published. So those little wins have actually made us realize even more. They have made us a bigger believer on publishing.
Yes.
Than we were, right?
Exactly. So, like, right at this point, we're doing just solo episodes. It was just Fonzie and me in the same room. We're chatting here and there. We're following a framework that we have that is amazing because it made the job.
We're chatting. We're having fun.
Yeah. So
having a good time.
So we made it super simple and frictionless to actually come up with topics on what to talk. We're basically replicating what we did with 45 Live. We were documenting something that was happening during that day or that week, and then attaching a lesson after it. So, you know, for those that love the how-tos, right, we do have a running, we call it the cheat sheet, where it's like sections, things that we do, the notes that we put on the show, the notes that we take during the show. So we're following this specific framework every single day. And it was the same. What was happening was that framework was evolving. We were adding different things that we thought it was necessary for the next episode. So it started evolving. It started very simple. And now we have this amazing, like, cheat sheet template that we follow every single day, so we don't have to think on what to say. So after episode 20 or so, we're like, okay, I think it was episode 19 with Pablo. We're like, hey, we need our first guest. And Pablo works with us in different projects. Amazing guy. He builds communities. And we're like, Pablo, do you want to be the first guest of Content is Profit? And he goes like, absolutely, heck yes. Let's actually do this. And it was an amazing thing because it was the first time that we're actually interviewing somebody through a camera or at all. Ever.
yeah, I think it was more at all. You're like, first time we were interviewing someone through a camera. I was like, ever in the history. I don't think I've ever interviewed anybody.
And you know, for those trying to get started in this game of interviewing people, we highly recommend choosing somebody that you actually know, because you're gonna feel more comfortable. You're gonna get like loose a little bit better. And then if something goes south, which almost every time it happens, you're gonna feel comfortable because that person knows you, right? And then if you're not going live, you can redo it again. But we obviously highly recommend going live. Put that pressure on there, execute, and move forward.
Yeah, of course. I think, like, again, looking back into our journey, you know, like we said it at the beginning, it's like 50 episodes and we still make mistakes in the intros, right?
Every single time.
I think that's what's special about it. You know, like the reason why we weren't publishing at the beginning, those 5 episodes, is because we were like, this one has a mistake. We will be recording for 30 minutes and we'll make a mistake and it's like, oh, start over again. Let's do it again, right? That perfectionism was just like stopping us from putting our message out there.
Yeah.
And the fact that now if we mess up right here live, you know, sorry, if we mess up, like,
it
there's
is
nothing
out
we
there.
can do. So
Yep.
we're literally training ourselves to don't care too much when we make mistakes and keep moving forward, which is what's important, because at the end of the day, that's not only business, that's life.
Yeah.
And you gotta fail to be able to move forward and learn.
Yeah, thank you for that amazing lesson, Fonzie.
Mic drop.
Mic
Let's
drop.
go.
But yeah, I mean, for those listening, I think you know, give it a shot. Try it out. It's gonna happen. You're gonna make mistakes. I remember a comment not so long ago in one of the communities. It's like, hey, should I edit out my breathing? And I'm like, is that like the question that we asked back was like, is this something that your audience is actually telling you that you need to do? Like, hey, I'm not gonna listen to you because I can hear your breathing. Probably not.
Did you answer like this?
Probably. Hey, and hey, just so I'm clear, like, I don't mean no disrespect to this person, but sometimes we get fixated in those little details that prevents us from moving forward and executing. So after Pablo, we're like, okay, guys, let's go big. Let's actually interview our coach. Steve, he made more than $1 million in one day. And we're like, what a great way to actually, continue on our interviews. And that brought the pressure on because these guys have been on hundreds and hundreds of interviews. So that day our content evolved a little bit more. We were like, how can we bring the experience to him? How can we show that this is actually a stage for our guests? This is the first time that we're trying this. And what happened, Fonzie? Like, what did you come up with?
Well, we decided to make a little intro, BIZBROS style. And we're like, you know what? Like, every podcast that I've ever listened to, they always introduce the guests in the same way. They're always, which is, I'm not saying is wrong or bad, but they always just pretty much say the name of the guest at once, and then they just say the facts and like things that they have accomplished, which again is not wrong. It's okay. It's good. But we asked ourselves, how can we be different? Because that's the key question right there, right? Like,
yes.
And we've talked about this, right? You don't need to be better, you just need to be different. Once people go your way, then you can prove them that you're better. But at first, people want to see what's different. So that was the question we were asking ourselves, and we were just pondering in that question that day, hands on the keyboard, and we just started typing, how did we meet Steven? And then we started what does Steven do? Okay, what is the perception that we have about Steven, right? And we started answering these questions and putting a little spin to it, making it a little bit entertaining as we could. And at the same time, without revealing who the guest was, right? So at the end, what we had, it was pretty much something that looked like someone introducing someone that was about to go speak in a real live stage.
Yeah.
And then we were like, okay, like, this is fun, this is cool, but how can we take it to the next level, right? And I remember that we were at Funnel Hacking Live on January, and we heard Russell. He had his awesome song when he would come on stage, and then we heard Steve's, and his song was the same one, and we were like, dude, like, that song is actually pretty cool, like, it has a really nice beat. So we actually got our phone, we Shazam it, and we discovered what the song was. And I remember I took a screenshot and I left it there. Totally forgot. Well, when we're writing Steve's intro, I was like, what if we actually use the song that they used to bring him on stage? And I was like, oh, I think I know this song. I have it in a screenshot in my phone. So we went back, we looked it up. We got the song, we bought it, we chopped the same part that he uses. And he had no idea about this. We were like, hey, Steve, we're going to have a little surprise for you. We're about to bring you on the podcast. And honestly, but his reaction was so reassuring. It was like we tapped into something. We just came across something that I was like, okay, this is us, you know? Yeah. And again, like we were pretty lucky. I think that we found it pretty early in our podcast. I don't think everybody's gonna have the opportunity.
Yeah.
But again, if you don't ask the right questions, you're not gonna have the right answers, right? And we were asking the question, how can we do it different than other people? How can we make this an experience for our guests?
Yeah.
And the answer showed up. We implemented it. We're like, what's the worst that can happen, right? The worst that can happen is like he doesn't like it, he signs off, and then there's no interview. And we're like, oh, well, I mean, that would be pretty bad, but we thought he was gonna do that.
And then we can talk about
we
that
went with it,
and
it was. I mean, his reaction was mind blowing. I was actually, I'm at a friend's house right now, and I was showing him that video. I'm like, dude, I was actually talking about this whole intros. And I show him the video and look at Steve's face and saying that was the best intro he's ever had in his podcast. I was like, this is it, you know, like it's so reassuring and it was awesome.
Yeah. One of the things that I would like for the listener, you that are there with us, that have been with us together in like all these 50 episodes, is like some things were planned as far as like the time that we're going to go on. And we decided on planning the minimum viable content, right, for the podcast. Like, what is the minimum that we need to hit so we can do that? And then from that base, we started building different things. We started asking questions. And then, you know, when Steve came, it wasn't until the episode 21 that we decided to do that kind of intro. And then that became the standard. And we're like, that's something that we can replicate every single time after that. So we call it content evolution, right? As you start developing, as you start publishing, you're going to find those questions, those frameworks, those introductions, like those elements that's going to make you. So I definitely encourage you to see the content as you're like, what is my base that I can stay consistent, that I can continue publishing every single day. And then after that, once you become comfortable with that, then add another layer, add another element, right?
Yeah. So like once we started adding these layers, when we discovered the intro that it worked for us, then the question was, okay, how can we do this in a way, you know, that's not going to add too much friction to our process and it can be repeatable for the rest of the podcast, right? And like he said, like you just said, you know, like content evolution, literally. We started with our minimum viable content. The first episodes was literally documenting, actually it was documenting, and then we would tell the story through the Epiphany Bridge story sequence, right?
Yeah.
Like we had those questions, I think there are 8 questions, if I'm not mistaken, and we would actually tell the episode, I guess, you know, the podcast had that structure, the structure of the Epiphany Bridge story.
Yeah.
And we actually had that for a while until then, okay, we started bringing people in. That's a new layer. How can we make this repeatable? Cool. All right. Yeah. We bring the intro. Awesome. It worked out. How can we make it repeatable? I remember some other episode at the end, we asked a question, right? Like, where would you be if you didn't publish?
Yeah.
And that day we were like, wow, that's a really good question. How can we put it repeatable so we don't forget in our process? And again, that content evolution. Yeah. It kind of comes natural at some point.
It starts clicking, and the important thing here is to recognize what are those elements that add a lot of value to you and your content. And this is not necessarily for your podcast, right? It could be for your YouTube video. It could be for your solo episodes. It could be for your Facebook lives, right? And then it's like, how can I remember the next time? So for us is our cheat sheet, and then we build those elements in there in an order so we can actually follow it and making sure that we don't forget every single time, right? So right after that, Steven, like obviously we have a new standard on the show. We're like, we actually have to do this intro every single time. So we plan ahead of time and we start doing what we call the prep show. So beforehand, it's like 30 minutes. We go on there, we write those intros, FONZify them. So that's the word that we established for that intro, so he can make them funny. He's a creative guy here. And then right after that, we're like, okay, let's start on podcast flow. We put some music, we get riled up because we need to set the energy. It's our game day. And that's what's fun about it, because it's become this amazing routine that we now execute every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? I almost forget, around that time, we also started a second show, which was the Spanish show, which, by the way, we have 10 episodes. And the reason we haven't been able to continue to publish that is because Content is Profit actually grabbed a ton of traction. It was amazing.
Yep.
The response that we got from the audience, from our dream clients, from the guests, right? That it shifted our attention a little bit. And that's why we continue with Content is Profit for now. Mass Live Show is coming. It's in Spanish. Don't worry, we'll be there for sure. But then we started having these amazing guests like Marley Jacks, Nate, John, McCall, Brooke, oh my God, Jay, Austin, Lisanne, Josh 40, Cassie, the Amplified team, Parker, Gavin Bell from UK, which, by the way, we've been developing a following in the UK, which is funny. So maybe they think our accent is amazing and we think their accent is great. So maybe that's what's happening. Jeremy, Alex Taylor, Todd Brown. Oh my God, that was an amazing story. And please go back, listen to these episodes. All the people that we've been able to connect: Steve Creason, Holly, Tyson, oh my God, world champ in rodeo, JR Rivas, Ayelet, Anthony Murphy, Rita, Don, and yesterday, Catherine Jones for 49.5 episode and a half.
There we go.
There we go.
Making this episode number 50, baby.
So, and again, the guests that are coming next, amazing too. We have an amazing lineup, and we're working with people that really enjoy what they do, the passion, the content, and this is what publishing is all about. Now, there's something sometimes that we talk about, collateral revenue, right? For us, the relationship, it's literally the primary thing. We want to develop this relationship with these people, and we've been able to do it. Now, on the other side, right, a lot of people are like, how do I monetize? And for us, we're in this little pickle for that story. We're about to go out of business. Well, the podcast brought the audience. The podcast brought the people that we started to work with to jump on calls with us. And guess what? We got to a point, and there's a Facebook Live running around where we describe that situation, that thanks to the show, we were able to hire our first 3 full-timers that work with us in our agency. We discover a message.
Shout out to the team.
Shout out to
Rafa,
the team.
Mariana, Juan, now Jose.
Now Jose is coming too. So see, and this just happened in 3 months in the middle of the worst, the worst crazy pandemic, lately, right? And where a lot of
lately.
lately
like it happened
in the last century or something. But it's what I'm trying to say is if there was a worse, there is no worse time to actually grow or start a business. And thanks to this show and the pieces that started to move and the momentum that we started to get, we are able to now say that we've actually grown. We were able to provide for our team members that are, working a lot, really, really, really good alongside and executing on an amazing product, right? And it literally saved our business. We cannot say enough about this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say I am extremely proud of the two of us. Of course, I'm proud of our team, but previous to our team, I'm extremely proud of the two of us because we met that resistance with even more strength, and we became anti-fragile, and we ended up growing, not only personally, but we ended up growing our business and our team, right? Like my brothers say, we were able to bring some new people, which they are absolutely amazing. They are fantastic. So yeah, that's what I got to say. I am proud of ourselves.
There might be some people out there that say, okay, well, that's all wonderful and, fluffy and whatnot. But, what about the money? What about the sales coming in? Well, let me tell you guys that we actually triple our sales since the day that we actually started the podcast. And that's official. We cannot be more proud of this. And this is the reason we're publishing.
The numbers are in.
The numbers are in. And on the show, right, we told you at the beginning, the podcast side of things, the audio that we put on every single platform is not the primary thing for us. Is there because we love the people that listen to the show. We adore the audience. We are actually podcast listeners, but the focus on promoting that side of things is not there just because first, we don't have time right now to actually execute 100% on that side, but
adding that would be adding more friction to the process.
Exactly.
Right? Eventually
it's coming.
We'll find something that is gonna be.
But something happened that we were able to cross the 1,000 downloads mark before the 3 months happened, which is amazing because that means that there's a lot of people out there. And thank you if you are listening right now.
Yeah,
thank you for that. And that means that we're doing our job. And again, feel free to send us a DM, send us a message, and thank you if you've left the reviews. There's plenty there that are amazing, and we are glad that this content, the guests that we're bringing, the things that we're talking about are resonating with you and helping you move forward with your entrepreneurial, your content side of things. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening almost every single day because there's a lot of episodes out there now, and they're not stopping. So if you guys want different people, like if you guys want somebody really that you really want, send us their name and we're happy to contact them and also bring them into the show.
We will do our best to bring them in. We'll reach out to them, DMs, we'll bombard them with messages, email. Don't worry, we got them for you guys. We'll bring them in.
So today, I love it. So today we wanted to keep it really short. We wanted to make it a little bit special. We wanted to kind of walk you through like how it was to start.
It's like randomly getting dark over here. I have to like turn on the flash on my on my phone so I could see myself.
And everybody that has been a part of these like first 50 episodes directly, as far as like the guests, you guys are gonna be all tagged. Thank you so much for being a part of Contents Profit. Welcome to the Contents Profit family. We cannot wait to keep growing the show, keep growing the guest list, the family. And
the Content is Profit family.
Yeah. So I think this is it. We just wanted to say thank you and celebrate the amazingness that has happened throughout the show, and a lot of opportunities are opening up. So if you are listening and you know you have a message to share, if you know that this is the way, but you're not really sure how to get to that next step, feel free to send us a DM. You know, we jump on calls. If you have different questions, we meet you where you are. We do have an agency product that is for people that already have something in place. So we help multiply that. It's called Content Momentum. So happy to chat with you if you are interested. But also, if you have questions on how to get started, this is exactly what we did. This started as an experiment. It's like, let's see how it goes. And looked all the good things that have been happening because of that experiment. So feel free to reach out to us at the BIZBROS on Facebook and Instagram. Check us out, communicate, reach out, have fun, check the episodes, and that's it. I think that's my celebration.
Any questions that you may have, we are here to help you out. We want, again, you just heard this episode. We lived it. It was life-changing, honestly, for us. The fact that we decided to take that step forward and start publishing. And we want, people that were in our same position to experience the same thing, to have their lives changed by taking that first step of publishing. So any questions, like my brother said, we are here. So feel free to slide in those DMs and we'll definitely get back to you.
Yeah, guys, next week we have an amazing lineup. We have Kennedy and Rob from the UK. They are the email marketing mindset experts. Is amazing what they do. I can't wait to dive in. Besides, it's gonna be like a 2v2 here on the show, so it's gonna be amazing. Then on Wednesday we actually have Xenia. She is Forbes 30 under 30. Fonzie, you know a little bit more.
30 under 30. Yeah, she has a software for actually social media. So it's gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be fun.
That's gonna be a morning episode, so I think it's around 10 a.m. Eastern, just because of the schedule.
She's in Eastern Europe.
Yeah. And then Friday, guys, Friday. Oh my goodness, what a lineup. We have part 2 of Catherine Jones at 4:15 p.m. And then right after that, we have the amazing Alex Elliott. She has an amazing community online of thousands of entrepreneurs, and she has an amazing story that she wants to share with you guys. So amazing week next week is gonna be insane. We gotta get our coffee together, and
and maybe we'll have the second episode of the new segment, Tropic Thunder Thursdays.
That's right. That's right. And for those who don't know what that is, please go check out Catherine's episode, the first one, the little teaser.
Episode 49 and a half.
49 and a half.
Yesterday.
Go check it out because we reveal what that is there. Guys, I think that's it, Fonzie. You good?
I'm good.
You're good. All right, guys. Well, with that being said, thank you so much. Please go ahead and subscribe. Smash that subscribe button. And follow us on social media at BIZBROS.
That's right, guys. And if you found this episode impactful, which I am sure you did, don't forget to... Wow, I thought the music went over. I just lost it.
There we go again.
Guys, if you found this episode impactful, don't forget to share it with everybody else and leave a 5-star review.
There we go. Thank you, Fonzie. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being part of the Content is Profit family. And we will see you guys on Monday.